world's greatest t-shirt company has set yet another milestone record. Where are all you cretins now? Oh, they're nothing but a t-shirt company. AEW will never compete with WWE. I know, I heard it all. They won't compete with Vince. They're a true alternative, but they can't be the mega juggernaut that WWE is. They'll die in 2 years. They're nothing more than a t-shirt company. They're selling t-shirts out of the back of their caravans and their Subarus, or whatever the fuck people are coming up with as far as an excuse, man. Give me a fucking break. Seriously. What a difference a full year makes. We went all in Chicago last year. All in. Sold out. Barely anything known about what was happening with the card. All out. Sold out in 15 minutes. It would have been shorter than 15 minutes if everybody did not crash the website at the same time. There were 60,000 people in wait to buy tickets for AEW's second show of the year. Or second pay-per-view, I should say, of the year. While we have Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen coming up throughout the rest of the summer. Their second official show on pay-per-view sold out in 15 minutes. Would have been shorter, like I said, but the website was crashed. Unreal. Must be a great t-shirt company if you ask me. Unbelievable, man. 60,000 fucking people. That's a lot of beanies and a lot of hoodies for the fall season coming up after All Out. Give me a break, people. The hype is real. The hype is real for AEW, and I am damn proud of what is going on right now in the world of professional wrestling. It's an amazing thing to see. It really is. It goes to show you that people want professional wrestling. Because if they didn't, these shows would not be selling out. Double or Nothing sold out in 4 minutes. All Out sold out in 15 minutes. Meanwhile, WWE has Stomping Grounds coming on up. They can barely fill half the fucking venue. I wonder why. You give people something that they want, and those people will buy and come to watch your product. Meanwhile, WWE continues to shit on their audience and insult everybody's intelligence and continue to put Shane McMahon on fucking television. Nobody's gonna buy a fucking ticket, period. Oh, and Baron Corbin is fighting for the WWE Universal Championship. My God, I can't wait to bring the wife and the kids to go see fucking Baron Corbin. Dumbasses. This show doesn't even have anything outside of the 2 matches announced. Sold out. Why did they sell out, folks? Because Double or Nothing was such a great show. Because Double or Nothing gave you what you wanted, and they left you with wanting more. They said, hey guys, we know this is a great show, but we want you to come back for the next show. So here is Jon Moxley. Here's Kenny Omega. Here's a vacant world title that's going to be fought over at the next show. Get people in the door, you give them a reason to come back. They did that, and now we're looking at All Out being sold out in 15 minutes. Please, I await your excuses about this t-shirt company based out of Chicago. All Out. Crashed the websites. Tickets went on sale 12 p.m. All Out. 12:32, gone. Every single ticket. AEW's official social media account let everybody know that they can stop buying tickets, or at least trying to buy tickets. They actually sold out in around 15 minutes on Friday afternoon. They only have 2 matches announced for the next pay-per-view. Adam Hangman Page will face Chris Jericho to become the first ever All Elite Wrestling World Champion. And Jon Moxley will go one-on-one with Kenny Omega, stemming from the aftermath of Double or Nothing and Jon Moxley making his AEW debut. There will likely be more matches to come, clearly, obviously, and we can only guess much more to come as far as surprises go, because you know for a fact that AEW is going to want to just bolster that roster and make sure you're watching come October on TNT. And I'm wondering if a certain MMA commentator will be there as far as surprises go. I wonder if the best in the world at what he does will be face-to-face with the best in the world. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can only speculate. I can only predict. But I think we will see a certain CM Punk in Chicago on August 31st. Now, clearly, he is not going to announce that. He controls everybody all he wants on social media. I can't wait for October, says Mr. CM Punk. We all know what he's talking about as far as his love for hockey, but come October, I am making a prediction. We will see CM Punk on TNT with All Elite Wrestling. I love it. This is a great deal, and obviously, Chris Jericho wants his thank you, so I'm giving him his thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jericho. I appreciate all your efforts to make AEW the #1 wrestling promotion in the entire world. I really appreciate your efforts, and I certainly hope you become the first ever AEW World Heavyweight Champion. This is Off the Script. Are you guys going to give me a thank you for part 2? I hope so. Nah, I don't need one. I'm gonna be here anyway, man. Off the Script, episode 278, part number 2, right here for your Saturdays. Thank you so very much for joining me. If you missed Off the Script on Friday, please make sure you guys go and check all of that out. Link will be in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of your screen, along with everybody else, or everything else, I should say. Did Bray Wyatt take shots at Jon Moxley on Raw during the Firefly Funhouse? Did an Off the Script extra on top of Raw, Smackdown, and NXT. Thank you guys so very much for all of your support this weekend on the contents. Make sure you guys go and check it out. Like I said, link in the top right corner of the screen with that little eye. Drop it down. Everything you need will be right there. Follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. I mentioned yesterday that YouTube is giving the content creators a look into the analytics, and we can see the percentage of people who are subscribed who have the bell turned on. I mentioned we have around 21% of the people listening to this channel with the bell turned on. I would love to get that up to 30%, man. So if you guys don't have the bell turned on, do it, and make sure you guys are notified of everything right here on the channel. Patreon, if you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. It's completely optional, and it's the only way to get exclusive content not available on YouTube. The podcast today, being that it is Father's Day coming up, the podcast today is brought to you by The Ridge. Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout for 10% off. I am thinking about getting my father one for Father's Day, so I expect you guys to do the same for your fathers. It is the one day out of the year to show appreciation for your father, and I think The Ridge is the perfect gift for each and every one of the fathers out there this Sunday for Father's Day. You know, one of the more difficult things for me to do is go out and shop for a wallet. I'm not the type of guy that's going to go out and buy a designer wallet and spend all this types of money on something with some stupid brand name logo on it. I'm not that type of guy. I usually go into the mall. I walk into Hot Topic. Oh, this Legend of Zelda wallet looks cool. Oh, this Metallica wallet looks cool. Oh, this Super Mario wallet looks cool. I'm that type of guy because it's very indicative of me and my personality and my interests. Now, I want you guys to look in your wallet. Better yet, I want you to go out for an afternoon with your father, and I want you to take a very close look at his wallet, because I know I did the same thing. I know my dad did the same thing. Look in your wallet. What do you have in your wallet right now? What does your dad have in his wallet right now? Guarantee you have old receipts for when you took the wife out for dinner 3 months ago for your anniversary. Guarantee you got old hotel room keys in your wallet. Guarantee you got business cards and contact numbers on some small piece of paper that you don't even remember who they are or where you were when you exchanged this information. You're looking at your dad and you're thinking to yourself, I gotta get my dad a new wallet for Father's Day. I present to you, right here on Off the Script, the Ridge Wallet. It was actually created by a father and son team. There's the Father's Day correlation. A father and son team who value reliability in their everyday gear. They're making everyday goods that turn the things that you carry, like backpacks, chargers, wallets, into tools for better living. The flagship product of the Ridge is indeed the Ridge Wallet. It was launched on a Kickstarter in 2013 and now sits in the front pockets of 750,000 men and women, including myself. And I want you guys to think about your fathers on this coming Father's Day. Over 30,000 five-star reviews, and it's more than likely what your dad will love this Father's Day. When he thinks of Father's Day and the gifts that he's gotten, he's going to remember that you got him the Ridge Wallets. If he doesn't like it, 45 days you have to return the wallet if he does not like the product. The Ridge Wallet was actually started by Daniel Kane and his dad, Paul, proof that the utility of the minimalist wallet can span generations. Now, I want you guys to look closely at the screen that you see right here on Off the Script. You guys can save 10% off today with worldwide free shipping by going to ridge.com/scripts. Once again, that's ridge.com/script. Use the code SCRIPT. Link is down in the description below. There's a lifetime warranty. If your dad does not love it, again, free returns in case he doesn't. It comes in titanium, carbon fiber, aluminum, and over a dozen different styles and colors. I got the titanium because I love it and it feels fantastic. Once again, guys, free worldwide shipping this Father's Day, 10% off, ridge.com/script. It's been a really weird weekend, man. A lot of minor news stories, but nothing really substantial to sink your teeth into. But we're going to do our best to cover whatever is lingering out there in the world of WWE. And I want to start off with Bray Wyatt. Now, everybody is in the same boat when it comes to Bray Wyatt. He and the Firefly Funhouse are legitimately the best thing right now on Monday Night Raw. But that's not saying a lot, being that Monday Night Raw is so fucking terrible. But Bray Wyatt is indeed the best thing on Monday Night Raw. And WWE, there is a rumor that he might return physically. You will see him in the ring this Monday on Monday Night Raw. Now, this is coming from PW Insider. They are reporting that Wyatt is scheduled to be at Raw on Monday night. This will be the first time in many months that he's been at a WWE event. This doesn't necessarily mean that he will actually appear on the show, but it's interesting to note that he is scheduled to be there. According to WWE sources, who I spoke to a couple of weeks ago, says Mike Johnson, the company has something big planned for Wyatt's in-ring return. So my guess is if he does appear live on Raw on Monday, it won't be for a match. The logical thing would be to build anticipation for his first match back. Wyatt hasn't wrestled at a live event since December, and he hasn't wrestled on TV since last August when he was teaming with Matt Hardy. So Bray Wyatt, coming back to the WWE, his return is imminent. And I don't necessarily think that he should be on Monday Night Raw. Now, the report said that he is scheduled to be at Raw, but nobody knows for sure if he will be on Monday Night Raw. I will tell you what exactly needs to happen here with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt should not be on TV on Monday because it is the go-home show for a lame D-level pay-per-view that has nothing to do with anything Bray Wyatt. So why would you feature him on a show, on a go-home show, for a Stomping Grounds pay-per-view that does not have anything to do with Bray Wyatt? Why don't you wait until the Monday after when you can begin fresh and you can begin a build towards something new on a fresh slate going into the next pay-per-view, and better yet, on into SummerSlam, if that's where you want to feature Bray Wyatt. Doesn't make any sense to do it on this coming Monday, being that it is a go-home show. Now, I wouldn't even necessarily have Bray Wyatt wrestle at all. Who are you going to put him in the ring against? You need to have Bray Wyatt there on TV, and it's very important that he comes to TV when WWE does decide to feature him on the live television show. Because, first and foremost, we don't know what Bray Wyatt is. We know who Bray Wyatt is and the character that he is portraying now after the Wyatt family. But what is Bray Wyatt? Is he a heel? Or is he a babyface? We don't know. We don't know. My opinion on the matter is, I think the fans are going to take to Bray Wyatt and they're going to force him to be a babyface. That is my prediction on that. I just don't see this gimmick being a heel gimmick. It's just not like Bray Wyatt was back with the Wyatt family. And even then, I wouldn't even consider him a full-fledged heel. Maybe at some points you can consider him a full-fledged heel, doing the whole Bray Wyatt cult leader thing with Harper and Rowan. But even then, he gave you a little bit of that, this guy's fucking cool, I want to cheer him. I think that's the vibe that he's going to be getting from these live crowds, and I think the live crowds are going to take to him and force him to be a babyface. That is very important. That is very important. Now, WWE clearly could work around that. They don't necessarily have to book him like a babyface. If they don't want him to be babyface, WWE's not going to make him and position him to be a babyface. WWE will put him against other babyfaces in hopes that they do turn him heel. I could see WWE doing that as well, but it is very important to get this man and this gimmick in front of a live audience to see how the crowd reacts to this new version of Bray Wyatt. Now, I wouldn't necessarily have him wrestle at all until it is absolutely a necessity. I don't know who his first opponent is going to be. By the looks of things on these shows, there really is nobody on these shows that you could put with Bray Wyatt to really bring out that new character and that new gimmick. I have two people in mind. One being Seth Rollins, clearly because I think Bray Wyatt needs to be positioned at the top of the card, especially if he gets a lot of fanfare around him. Put him in the top card, or the top of the card, put him in the main match on the show and put him right against the Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. I think that would be great. Now, I don't know if he would be babyface or heel with that, but I think that would be a great way to get him solidified right away, give him the championship after Rollins has had the championship for a little bit. No better person to drop it to than Bray Wyatt, because there really is nobody else on this brand that I could see take the title from Seth Rollins. AJ Styles, we've been through that. There really is nobody else after AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw. Now, if you don't want to put him against Seth Rollins, I do think a perfect opponent for Bray Wyatt would be Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn would be a perfect opponent for Bray Wyatt, simply because Sami is great on the microphone, and Sami dissecting everything that Bray Wyatt's character is. I honestly do think that it would be a perfect matchup for both at the time. Now, yes, it would be a little bit too predictable as far as Sami Zayn goes, because if you're putting Sami Zayn up against a newfound Bray Wyatt and his new character, clearly we all know that Bray Wyatt is not going to lose that type of matchup first out of the gate. So, yes, it is kind of predictable, but I do think that if you put Sami Zayn, it's someone like Sami Zayn who has this, this Vince McMahon-like mentality as far as what he's been spewing to the fans. I could really see someone like Sami Zayn's character cutting down Bray Wyatt and really dissecting who Bray Wyatt really is and forcing that on to the people. And I think Sami Zayn's a good enough heel to a point where if you want to make Bray Wyatt a babyface, you could actually have the crowd get behind Bray Wyatt, feeding off of Sami Zayn's negativity. I think that would be a great 1-2 combination right there between Sami Zayn and Bray Wyatt. Again, the other one is Seth Rollins. If you really want to push him to the moon, no better way than to put him against the top dog and give him the world championship. I just don't see WWE doing that at all. Or you could really just put Bray Wyatt on TV and not have him do anything. Because what I really do feel in my heart is that, yes, Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse is really cool. It's really intriguing. We want to see more. We want to see what type of creativity Bray Wyatt brings to the table as far as this new character goes. But is he going to be able to maintain this on his own without a supporting cast? The one big question mark is with Bray Wyatt, when they broke up the Wyatt family and they really went away from focusing on the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt really suffered in that role. Bray Wyatt really suffered on his own. Is WWE going to have enough resources and enough creativity? Are they going to have enough planned out to a point where Bray Wyatt is going to be able to survive on his own? Or are we going to be in a position where we start needing Bray Wyatt surrounded by others to make him look even better? And I think that would probably be one of those things that needs to be done anyway, because with Bray Wyatt's popularity growing and growing and growing every week, it could not hurt to put supporting characters around him to build up their credibility and build up their stock. Now, Bray Wyatt, I always looked at as a leader. I don't really know if this new role, this new character is going to fit as far as a leader role like he did with the Wyatt family. It certainly appears that way. It certainly appears that something like that could work if WWE wanted to adventure down that road. And who would we put with Bray Wyatt? I could see a Nikki Cross. I don't know why Nikki Cross is with a character like Alexa Bliss. I think it's completely ridiculous. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss could not be any more different. This is not the Nikki Cross that I know. And if you really want to bring out that bipolar Nikki Cross, if you really want to present Nikki Cross the way she is on TV now when she's talking to Alexa Bliss, very normal, very everyday-like, why not put her with somebody who is just as internally crazy like Bray Wyatt, and it would give her a reason to be that way? She could be the female version of Bray Wyatt, you know, calm and easy on the outside, but harboring those inner demons on the inside, where we get crazy Nikki, the Nikki Cross that we remember in NXT. Having her paired with Alexa Bliss right now really isn't all that special, and it's really bringing Nikki Cross down a lot as far as credibility, because that's not Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't mingle with the divas. She doesn't mingle with people like Alexa Bliss. She doesn't sit in the locker room waiting and contemplating and giving advice to others. Nikki Cross is a loner. Nikki Cross is a crazy bitch. So you put her with someone who is just as crazy. Another one who I think could fit well with Bray Wyatt is Braun Strowman. And you could play up the fact that Braun Strowman has lost his way. Braun Strowman has lost his way. Braun Strowman doesn't know who he is anymore. Everybody wants him to be this big monster on Monday Night Raw. Everybody looks at him like a freak, you know? And he's made some mistakes in his past. And he's looking for someone to right those wrongs and put him back on the right track. And Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman definitely have some sort of history there. Not much history, but Bray Wyatt gave Braun Strowman his first break in the Wyatt family. He was the one wearing the black sheep mask. I think it could work. And you could play off that fact that they went away from each other for a little bit, and Bray Wyatt now is welcoming Braun Strowman back as a way to find him on the path that we all know he should be on, but he's not there yet. And maybe we can get Luke Harper thrown into this as well, because the story with Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt certainly writes itself. Luke Harper is such a talented guy at his age, not being used. The story is there. The history is there. The rich history is there with Bray Wyatt. And the fact that he's not being used, and the fact that he was looked down upon, just like Bray Wyatt was looked down upon. We've seen the whole situation with Huskus the Pig. Lose weight, fat slob, work out, get yourself right. The same thing could be said about Luke Harper. He was always looked at as somebody different. Always looked at as somebody that wasn't good enough. All of these characters have some sort of similarity with Bray Wyatt. Some of these characters have a rich history with Bray Wyatt. Why not get some sort of cult back together? Why not get some sort of family back together? And I think a female presence in this situation would be much needed. Where the Wyatt family, I always felt, needed a female presence. Nikki Cross could be that one to channel, Sister Abigail almost. And Bray could look at her in that type of role. I think this would be great. We need something like this on TV. We need a solid stable on Monday Night Raw. And I think we need a character like this that has a lot of influence over the audience, someone who the people want to see. You don't necessarily need to put Bray Wyatt in the ring. You don't need Bray Wyatt to go out there and don the Fiend character right away, because everything that you're doing is building up to something important. Everything you're doing with Bray Wyatt is leading to something for Bray to be successful. You're leading him to be the number one man on this show, the number one character that we look forward to watching every single week. If you blow through your cards already and you put him in the ring against somebody who is absolutely meaningless to Bray Wyatt just for the simple fact of popping a rating, it's not going to work. And you're going to ruin everything that you've been doing in the last 3 months with this Firefly Funhouse. It's not going to work that way. Bray Wyatt should not be looked at as, oh, we got this great character that everybody is interested in. Let's get him on TV and let's see if it pops a rating. No. You're losing all credibility at that point. And you're taking something that he created and put so much effort into just for the simple fact that you want to pop a rating. And the ratings itself are not going to go up based on Bray Wyatt's character alone. This is something that you put a lot of effort into, so let the fans jump on that. Let the fans be intrigued. Let the fans wonder what's coming next. That's the way you hook them into watching what he's going to do next. Watching next week's show. What is Bray going to do next? Who is he going to recruit next in his new family? You don't need to get him in the ring to do anything wrestling-wise. The character is captivating enough to a point where you can just put him on TV, have him speak to a live audience, get that reaction out of the live audience, maybe create a stable for him with supporting characters, and let that be your storyline on TV. And then have him work towards something else. Maybe starts off as a babyface, and then he naturally turns into a heel, and you got a program waiting for Seth Rollins right there, where it's going to be fluid, seamless, and it's going to feel natural instead of you forcing him back on TV just for the simple sake of you having nothing else to do and you want to use your hottest act to generate some interest. Come on. I think this is easy. My buddy Jesse said it best. Everything that WWE usually has planned, do the opposite. Because what they usually have planned is the fucking shit that kills any creativity and any characters on these shows. Whatever you got planned, don't do it, or do the opposite. Simple as that. Bray Wyatt should be easy. And if Bray Wyatt wants to be successful, hopefully Vince McMahon gives him a little bit more creative leeway as far as where he wants to go with the character, because nobody is going to work Bray Wyatt's character better than Bray Wyatt. He is someone that you are not going to write for. He is someone that you are not going to plan for. He is someone that you're not going to creatively book on these shows. You listen to him because this is his brainchild. You let him do this with the Funhouse. Let him take it and run with it. Don't stifle the man's creativity because you want to run and have control over everything. This is one of your more natural acts, one of your more original acts in years. Do not ruin it. Please. This should be simple. Let the guy do what he has to do and always take feedback from the one source that knows the character best. That is Bray Wyatt. Moving on. That's all I have to say about that. Moving on here, man. Sticking with Monday Night Raw. Lars Sullivan. Is he on Raw or is he on SmackDown? I don't even know at this point. I believe he's on SmackDown, but he is in the middle of a feud with the Lucha House Party. Now, I don't know when this happened or where it happened, but Lars Sullivan has had 2 matches against the Lucha House Party, first being in Jeddah, and then the second one on Monday Night Raw following Super Showdown. Now, even though he dominated both matches, it turns out that Lars Sullivan did not escape the Lucha House Party without an injury. Now, it was previously reported that Sullivan was set to have a match against Matt Hardy on SmackDown Live that did not happen and it had to be canceled. It was said that he was suffering from a slight knee injury. Now, Dave Meltzer is reporting that it might be worse than first thought. Meltzer noted on the newsletter that Sullivan's knee injury is worse than originally believed and continued saying, and I quote, "There is no definitive detail until he undergoes an MRI, but it doesn't look like a small thing, and he will be on Monday as of this writing." So unless there's an MRI, we won't know any details on how bad it really is. Hopefully this isn't the kind of thing that is really bad, because if Lars Sullivan has already gone away for months after the debut packages and the hype up in January went away all the way through WrestleMania, only to come back recently and have this shit against the Lucha House Party, if he was to go away for another extended time, 6 to 8 months, Lars Sullivan's dead. I'm sorry. An injury right now to Lars Sullivan would absolutely kill any momentum, if he has any to begin with. It would absolutely kill any momentum Lars Sullivan has accumulated for himself. If he goes away and the public do not see Lars Sullivan, they will not give a shit at all about Lars Sullivan when he comes back. And worst case scenario, they are going to completely forget about him altogether in the time that he's out. You do not need an injury for Lars Sullivan. If you're Lars Sullivan, I'm praying that it's not as bad as Meltzer is reporting here with the newsletter. Now, speaking of the Lucha House Party are getting very high remarks with WWE officials. Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp are reporting that Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik have received very high remarks backstage in WWE. This is due to how much they sold for Lars Sullivan and the willingness to do anything to get the freak over. They were said to be, doing anything to get Sullivan over and are generally easy to work with. Of course, Lars Sullivan is currently injured, like I just reported, and only time will tell how bad his knee really is. A match on Smackdown Live against Matt Hardy needed to be cut this week due to this injury, but the Lucha House Party aren't catching any heat for that. After starting on 205 Live, the Lucha House Party made their way to Raw and have been featured on the brand since. Not really in anything important, but they've been a part of the show. They might not pick up a ton of wins, but their presence has been an entertaining one, and their fast-paced Lucha action continues to do what it needs to do. Apparently, they're doing pretty well for themselves backstage in WWE. This report came exclusively from Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp. Now, Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik, I don't know how their current feeling is, but these are guys, and I would be a betting man. I would actually bet money on this. I would be in the boat of putting money down, just betting that Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik are going to do what they have to do because they're paid to do what they have to do, and they don't want to ruffle any feathers. If you stay out of the eye, or the anger, or the frustration, if you stay out of management's eyes, and you do exactly what you have to do, nobody's ever going to bother you. So I would be a betting man to say that both Kalisto and Gran Metalik, I don't really know how Lince Dorado feels. He may be in the same boat as those two other guys. I don't know. It could be all three of them who want out of WWE. Because a lot of people, according to Meltzer, are looking at their time, they're looking at their contracts and the length of their contracts, and they're waiting for their time to run out so that they can talk to All Elite Wrestling. Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Gran Metalik may be three of those guys. If not AEW, they just want out of WWE because they don't like what they're doing, and they're merely doing what they're asked because they're good employees. And like I said, if they start complaining, then A, they'll get buried, then they would be treated like shit. WWE might tack on some more time, They don't want the anger of management to fall on them if they speak up, if they don't do what they're told, if they have a creative decision that they don't necessarily agree with. So they're staying the course. They're doing what they have to do. They're following the Jon Moxley route. Do what you got to do. I'll do what you need me to do. And when my contract is up, I'm gone. So there you go. I don't have any more to say about that. I'm not a fan of the Lucha House Party. They don't really excite me on anything they do on Monday Night Raw. These guys have been all over the place. They're good hands. 205 Live, they're a great trio to fill spots on 205 Live. If you need somebody to go over there and give you a good match, Kalisto, call on him. He's got you. Metalik and Lince Dorado, they were standouts in the original Cruiserweight Classic. And on Monday Night Raw, I honestly do feel like WWE is wasting them completely. They could be a good trio. They could be a damn good tag team if WWE put some momentum behind them. Remember the Lucha Dragons? Sin Cara and Kalisto. I thought they were great in NXT. I thought they were great when they got called up. I was excited. We got some new, solid fucking tag teams here in the WWE. You got American Alpha, you got the Revival, you got the Lucha Dragons, you got, Enzo and Cass. You got a solid group of fucking tag teams, the Vaudevillains. Solid group of tag teams down there. None of them stayed. And none of them found success on the main roster. I was excited. And WWE let everybody that I mentioned get wasted. Now the Revival are tag team champions, but what does it really mean? It means nothing. It's more of, we got you. We got you guys. We want you to stay, so here are the tag team titles. We're going to do right by you now. We're done embarrassing you, but we don't want to drive you to AEW any quicker than, we have done already. But if WWE got behind Lince Dorado, Kalisto, and Gran Metalik as a solid trio that could have a nice little run in the tag team division, I wouldn't mind it. I don't like that they're featured as clowns. I don't like that they're featured the way that they are. They're pushovers. They're used in spots that are very predictable. You know they're out there to simply lose. You know they're out there just to fill the fucking time on television, to fill the show with basically nothing of importance. I don't like that. I want everything on a show, I want everybody featured on a show to have some sort of meaning. You know these guys are expendable. WWE knows they're expendable. They know they're expendable. But if they want a way out, quick, easy, and seamless, do what the company says, we'll see you later. We have no interest in signing. We want to pursue other career opportunities in the industry. Simple as that. And they're going about it the right way, no matter how praise or how high of remarks or praise WWE is giving them. Good. Good. These are the types of guys that deserve the praise and the high remarks. So we'll see what happens with that. But if I'm a betting man, like I said, all three of those guys are gone once their contracts are up. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, we all know the creative on Monday Night Raw is terrible. WWE is looking hard for new creative writers on Raw and SmackDown. Now, we all know being a writer in WWE, from what we read and what we heard, is not easy. Jon Moxley commented on how Vince McMahon fires writers and producers on a regular basis, but there are still people who would love to work for WWE. That's fine and all. These are clueless people who want a dream job. Oh, I love the WWE. I want to be on the creative team. So be it. You will learn firsthand exactly what Jon Moxley is talking about. Now, WWE, they released, you haven't seen it, but I seen it. WWE released a little bit of a recruitment video that went unlisted and private almost immediately because the video itself was absolutely fucking ridiculous. And all of the news and the rumors coming out about how terrible WWE is a place to work. Jon Moxley just blasted WWE Creative. They privated the video. The video never seen the light of day. This video detailed what it's like to be a writer for the company, and they were going over how great of a job it is, and how fruitful of an opportunity it is. You get to work closely with the talent, and it's a position where if you love to creatively write, it's the best position for you because your ideas are out there, and it's great to see your ideas mold into something on TV and have them actually play out. All this bullshit. All this fantasy fairy bullshit that this video expressed was nothing more than garbage. It was all bogus. And WWE and the corporate careers page for WWE, the responsibilities of a creative writer listed on the listing is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. Knowing what we know about the creative writing position, and knowing what we know about Vince McMahon, and knowing what we know after Jon Moxley blasted this company on Talk is Jericho. Listen to this. Key responsibilities. Develop clearly defined yet emotionally complex characters for a diverse group of WWE superstars. Develop clearly defined yet emotional complex characters for a diverse group of WWE superstars. A diverse group of WWE superstars. We see the same fucking people every single week. 70 to 80% of your roster is sitting in the back, not being used on television. What diversity? A diverse group of WWE superstars lie right in the first fucking key point of these responsibilities. It gets worse, people. Listen to this. Script, descriptive, thought-provoking, edgy, creative storylines for Monday Night Raw, Smackdown Live, as well as select programming on the WWE Network. Script, descriptive, thought-provoking, edgy, creative storylines. Is anything about WWE programming edgy? Is anything about WWE programming thought-provoking? Do you know how many logic holes that exist on current WWE programming right now? But it's thought-provoking. I can name 2 right off the top of my head that have been bothering me for the last couple of weeks. Number 1, why is Lacey Evans getting a women's title shot at Becky Lynch when she hasn't won a singles match coming out of Money in the Bank? And coincidentally, the pay-per-view after Money in the Bank, Stomping Grounds, she's right there in a rematch against Becky Lynch when she hasn't won a singles match coming out of the May pay-per-view. Thought-provoking, though. It's thought-provoking. Alexa Bliss is a Monday Night Raw diva who is on the Raw roster, and she's challenging Bayley, who's the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. What is a Raw superstar doing challenging a SmackDown superstar? What is a Raw superstar doing challenging for the SmackDown belt? Oh, title, I'm sorry. Championship. I can't say belt. Belts are used to hold up your pants. But it's thought-provoking and creative, right? Meanwhile, I'm sitting here wondering why, and WWE is so thought-provoking and descriptive that they failed to give me a fucking description and a reason as to why the things we see on TV are happening. Lies. Blatant lies. Collaborate with a team of road and home-based writers to create compelling Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. First of all, nothing about Raw and SmackDown is anywhere close to the definition of compelling. Compelling Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live stories that capture a global audience fitting multiple demographics. Let me slow this down. Home-based and road writers collaborate with road and home-based writers to create compelling Monday Night Raw television, SmackDown Live television stories that, if you can even call them that, to capture a global audience fitting multiple demographics. People, the only thing that you're writing on Raw and SmackDown is not to capture a global audience. It's to capture the attention and get the smile and the approval of a one-man audience, and that is Vince McMahon. A global audience fitting multiple demographics. Well, if the demographics are between the ages 65 and 80, then you fit right into the mold of and Vince McMahon. That's it. You're writing for an audience of one. An audience of one and his fucking ghouls, his cretins, his slaves, goons, clowns, or whatever fucking name you want to call them, man. That's all you're writing for. You ain't writing for the fans. Because if you were, we wouldn't be getting Baron Corbin in the fucking main event of a pay-per-view. We wouldn't be getting 60-year-old legends battling it out and us praying that they don't fucking tear a ligament or fucking pop a kneecap. We wouldn't be getting this shit. We wouldn't be getting Shane McMahon on fucking television ruining Raw and SmackDown like Jinder Mahal ruined SmackDown in 2017 with no fucking payoff. This is not compelling television. You aren't writing for a global audience. This is an audience of one, folks. Provide punch up for specific scripted segments, as well as review the totality of the entire episodes for continuity and flow. Does any of that happen on a weekly basis? Review the totality of the entire episodes for continuity and flow? Oh my God, yeah, man. Every segment has at least a logic gap or 3. Awful. incorporate consumer insights and social media to deliver impactful storylines that are consistent with the WWE brand and each talent's skills and history. It is also noted that having an understanding of the WWE's product is a plus. However, as we've seen in the past, it's not a breaking point if an incoming writer has no previous knowledge of the WWE's product. If I am hiring anybody, they should know at least the last 10 to 15 years of WWE programming. It would be unfair. At least know the fuck, or know the fucking product that's going on right now. If you have some sort of history that spans beyond that, like when we were children, that's a bigger plus. Because that means you're a fucking fan. Now, if you're someone who watched the product back when we were youngsters and took a little break and then got back into it, I can deal with that as well. We all took a break from the product. But if you have no knowledge of WWE at all and you're signing up to be a part of this fucking program, if you're enlisting your services here for WWE, I don't want you. Those would be the resumes that I fucking rip up. Next, who's the next candidate? That should be the first thing that you ask. Do you have any knowledge of the product? Simple. And if the answer is no, go find another fucking company to work for. Simple as that. But I find it incredibly funny after Jon Moxley just threw everybody under the bus, and we know what we know, how WWE now is looking hard for new creative writers, and this is what they want moving forward. Everything that's listed here is not what happens. And everything that you think comes with a creative writing position does not. Because more than likely, 99.9% of the ideas that are on that table get changed or don't get used at all. Simply because you're writing for not a global audience, but an audience of one, and that is Vince McMahon. I mentioned yesterday on part 1 that Shane McMahon, the payoff for Shane McMahon, it's being rumored, it's being talked about, it's being speculated, it's being discussed, that Shane McMahon and his time on television, the fact that they're giving him so much time on television, needs to have some sort of payoff. And the people now that are talking about this, and it's gaining traction, so hopefully WWE ignores all of this, and I hope this isn't the case. I said yesterday that out of some sheer morbid curiosity, I would be interested to see the reaction on social media if this did happen. Shane McMahon could possibly be set up for a WWE Championship title run in the summer and take the title off of Kofi Kingston. Now, why would this happen? Why would they give Shane McMahon the WWE Championship? Well, they probably will give Shane McMahon the WWE Championship. If this is the case, if that was to happen, they will give him the WWE Championship, have him run a reign of terror on Smackdown Live, because there really is no fucking what is the payoff? Have you ever asked yourself the fucking question of what is the payoff of wasting all of our times every single week with Shane McMahon on television? If Roman Reigns beats Shane McMahon, what does he accomplish? What is going to happen on television any differently than what we see now? There's nothing. There's nothing on the line. There's no power struggle. I mentioned time and time again, I don't even know why the fuck they're feuding. Why are Shane McMahon and Roman Reigns feuding? Now, I don't understand the logic here. If you want to go about giving Shane the title and then having Roman Reigns take the title off of Shane McMahon at SummerSlam, what does that do? How is that any different than what you did with Roman last year when he took the title off of Brock Lesnar? Is Roman the guy you want going into Smackdown Live on Fridays on Fox Sports? Roman isn't generating a rating now on TV when he's there. How is he going to generate a rating as WWE Champion on a new night, on a new station? He's not. You may think he's the number one guy in the company. You may think he's the standard bearer. He's the trophy that everybody goes to and wants to fucking topple in WWE. That's exactly what they said on Monday Night Raw. Roman is the flag bearer of this company, more so than anything else or anybody else or any title in the company. Imagine WWE gives Shane McMahon a match with Kofi Kingston, and he beats Kofi Kingston, wins the title, and WWE gives Shane the title for Roman to take it off Shane. Because there really is no other payoff. What is the fucking payoff if there's nothing on the line? Roman wins. Great. Why the fuck do I care? Maybe WWE internally knows that the television shows are so bad, so they're going to go the distance and make them fucking unbearable. But at that point, if Shane is the world champion, how many of you are going to cancel your network subscriptions? I've had a few people tell me, if Shane is the WWE champion, I'm done. I'm done. Does WWE want to take that risk? And how many people will care for Roman to take the title off of Shane? None. It doesn't matter. It's just awful television. The reason I say this is because it's in the atmosphere. It's in the air. Kofi Kingston was interviewed by Sports Illustrated, and this is what he had to say. Shane McMahon is experiencing a big push in WWE that hasn't slowed down at all. Kofi Kingston and Shane McMahon is an idea that's floating around for the WWE Championship. Either way, as Kofi Kingston spoke to Sports Illustrated, he said this. He is open, totally open to defending his title against Shane McMahon. I would love to fight Shane, says Kofi. And I would love to get Vince in the ring too. I think it's really cool that Shane is in this role of walking the line of an authoritative figure. But at the same time, he's an active superstar. Shane does some pretty crazy things in the ring. As you see, every single match that he has, I would love to get in there and mix it up with him. The story is open. The story is open right there. Vince always said to Kofi that he's a B-plus player. Vince could not stop Kofi Mania. So who's to say if WWE wants to write a storyline, if Vince couldn't topple Kofi Mania, maybe Shane does one for his father, topples Kofi Mania, but Roman is waiting right there in the wings to topple the McMahon Empire. It's a simple story. It actually goes into one another. What Vince couldn't do, Shane is going to do. And who's going to stop Shane? If he beat The Miz 3 times, if he beat Roman Reigns, he could do anything he wants. He could give himself a fucking title shot for all we know. Awful. Absolutely awful. And I said, if WWE goes that route, how many people are going to legitimately watch whatever fucking morbid WWE payoff there is? Some morbid fucking payoff that they think is going to be so grand and spectacular. Are you shitting me? Just a terrible creative decision, man. Just fucking awful. I hope that's not the case, but stranger things have happened, and there's a reason why that was said. There's a reason why the feeling of Shane and Kofi's in the air, and now he's recently asked this question from Sports Illustrated? Is it a foreshadowing of what's to come? I certainly hope not. My goodness, WWE would absolutely be out of their mind if they even think about giving Shane McMahon the WWE Championship. Speaking of Fox Sports, Renee Young. Renee Young is a lead candidate for the new WWE show on Fox Sports in October, according to a report from The Lead. Raw commentator Renee Young is the lead candidate to host the upcoming weekly WWE studio show on Fox Sports 1, FS1. Now, little is currently known about the show, which is set to start on Tuesday night once Smackdown moves to Friday nights. It isn't clear whether this would force Young out of her commentator role on Monday nights, but personally, I honestly think this new role for Renee Young, if they do want to give her that, would be so much better than what she's doing right now. This is a role I do not mind Renee Young in. I did not mind Renee Young interviewing the superstars in the back. Having her on commentary is painful to listen to. So if WWE wants Renee Young in this spot and it takes her off of commentary, so be it. So be it. There's a reason why Beth Phoenix is on the NXT commentary team. Maybe they're prepping Beth Phoenix to take Renee Young's spot while Renee Young goes to Fox Sports. I don't know. I also said that if Renee Young stays on commentary, maybe they're just prepping Renee Young, or Beth Phoenix rather, to be the Renee Young on SmackDown Live, and Beth Phoenix replaces Byron Saxton, and maybe Byron Saxton goes over to do the show on FS1. I don't know. So WWE has certainly some flexibility, but knowing their agendas, they might want one woman on Raw, one woman on SmackDown. But I honestly think Renee Young needs to be taken off of Raw. We need to go back to a two-man commentary team, because that's what it should be at. That's what every commentary team should be at. And Renee Young should be on this show and call it a day. Call it a day. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Young had previously hosted Talking Smack on the WWE Network, which was loved by everybody. Highly entertaining show before WWE and Vince McMahon made the decision to axe it because it's towed the line too much of showcasing what really happens behind the scenes. It was too loose, and Vince McMahon doesn't like too loose. Young started with the WWE in 2012 and since has had almost every role you can think of within the company. She even slapped The Miz. There's been talk of Young, she could be on her way out of the company, seeing that Jon Moxley is now in AEW and with New Japan, but it seems like WWE is keen on holding on to her for the time being, because if Renee Young is gone and she wants to be in pro wrestling, AEW would be scooping her up like that. Not just because of Jon Moxley, but because Renee Young, when it boils down to it, she's a great personality. She doesn't sound like a fucking android, and she does her job better than a lot of people do because she is entertaining. And like I said, she's not a fucking android, where most of these interviews are showcasing zero personality whatsoever. So I think Renee Young for this new show would be perfect. As long as it takes her off commentary, I am full support of this move if it does happen. We're going to talk about more on SmackDown Live. I got more WWE prepping a huge Intercontinental Championship title feud for Finn Balor. I got news on Aleister Black and his first opponent. Chad Gable moved to 205 Live. And who WWE blames for The Undertaker and Bill Goldberg failing at Super Showdown. Before I get into that, I want to make sure that you guys are not failing at having the proper shaving equipment for yourself, man. Harry's. If you aren't using Harry's, you are failing as far as men's shaving needs goes, man. Harrys.com/script. Did you guys know that the average guy will spend 3,000 hours of his lifetime shaving? I'd rather spend 3,000 hours of my lifetime shaving than watching Monday Night Raw, but that's just me. But I don't want you guys to waste 4 months of your life overpaying for poor performing razors. I want you guys to get Harry's, a razor that's so sharp you can shave less time and save you more money. That's just $2 per blade. Now, I want you guys to join the 10 million plus that have used Harry's by going to our unique link, harrys.com/script. Harry's and the founders are just two regular guys who were tired of getting ripped off, and they were tired of paying for overpriced gimmicks, vibrating heads, flex balls, handles that look like a prop in a sci-fi movie. These are just some of the tactics that these leading brands have used to overcharge us for years. Now, Harry's makes quality, durable blades at a fair price, just $2 per blade. They keep prices low. They cut out the middleman. Harry's bought a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making some of the best razor blades in the world for 99 years. Now they can provide you great quality at factory direct prices and a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, let them know and they will give you a full refund. Now, JD, this sounds great. What am I going to get when I use your unique link, harrys.com/script? Well, you're going to get a razor handle with an easy grip. Choice of color is yours. The orange, the navy blue, or the evergreen. You're going to get a 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade for a close, comfortable shave, rich, lathering shave gel that will leave you smelling great, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Listeners of my show can redeem their trial set at harrys.com/script. Make sure you go to harrys.com/script to redeem your offer and let them know that JD sent you to help support Off the Script. Aleister Black, one of NXT's former elite, comes to Monday Night Raw, teams with Ricochet, and they get a tag team title match in every promotion, on every brand, leading up to WrestleMania, in the same fucking week. In the same week. They got an NXT Tag Team Championship match, a Monday Night Raw Tag Team Championship match, and they challenged for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. They didn't win, but they were looking good, and their debuts and their time on the main roster was looking very promising. I love both Ricochet and especially Aleister Black. There's no way WWE can fuck Aleister Black up just based on his entrance alone. Everything else he does in the ring is academic. He's great. Great athlete, great look, knows how to move, sells great on the microphone. The guy has it all. WWE has him sitting in a closet for 7 weeks, wanting for someone to challenge him. This is the Dutch Destroyer. He goes out there and destroys. He doesn't wait to cause chaos. Apparently, WWE has a solid plan for Aleister Black. Now, Aleister Black has yet to wrestle a match on Smackdown Live after he was moved during the Superstar Shakeup, which right now looks like a waste of time because we got the wild card rule. He's been on the show each week with a different vignette, getting more angrier by the week. He's daring someone to call him out, and Randy Orton has already replied to him. And there are other several options he could step in the ring with as well. Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that WWE has some big plans for Aleister Black. This was apparent by what is happening at the house shows for SmackDown Live. He says this, and I quote, "It does appear that there are some people behind Aleister Black, so we'll see if they actually do something with him. He beat Randy Orton at the house shows on Sunday and Monday night, which is a little bit surprising because they usually put babyfaces over at house shows, but they still don't have Randy Orton losing to people unless they are really pushing the guy." End quote. Randy Orton is a top player in WWE, and beating him really should show how much confidence WWE has in someone. Aleister Black beat the Viper clean with a black mass kick 2 nights in a row. Therefore, it certainly looks like WWE has some kind of plan for the former NXT champion whenever he does finally decide to have someone step up and challenge him. Black Mass versus the RKO. The Black Mass is the new version of the RKO because it literally comes out of nowhere. This might be the mentality that WWE is certainly thinking here with Aleister Black. I've said it for, weeks when Aleister Black was in NXT. The Black Mass legitimately comes out of nowhere. It's one of those things where it just happens and his matches are over. Same thing happens with the RKO. That's a great way to not only get Aleister Black started on the main roster as a singles, but it's a great just selling point for SummerSlam. I mean, that's fucking awesome. The Black Mass versus the RKO. Which one's going to come out of nowhere first? I think that's fantastic. Aleister Black beats Randy Orton. He's made. Randy Orton's an elite. If he beats Randy Orton at a pay-per-view, he's made. Now, it's up to WWE to continue his momentum after the pay-per-view, which more than likely will not be what we anticipate it to be. But I think that's a great starting point. Why he's off TV for 7 weeks now remains to be seen. They could have cut all this bullshit, all these vignettes down in half. Meanwhile, we got him sitting in a closet, not wanting to come out because he wants someone to challenge him. And Shane McMahon's on TV with 3 or 4 different segments on Monday and Tuesday individually. I think this would be a great move. Aleister Black should already be an established star on this brand. This is a guy that you call up and you immediately have plans for. You should have plans in place for him to be that upper level type guy, that main event type guy. You don't call someone like this up and you waste him on TV for 2 months. I don't understand this. Aleister Black didn't need an audition. Aleister Black didn't need to wait around to become one of the boys and go through hard times and earn respect. Give me a break. A guy like this, a guy this talented, you call up. Meanwhile, he could have been down there giving to NXT. You call him up and waste him away for 2 months. After we already seen him on television with Ricochet for 2 months, right before WrestleMania. Now you're hitting the reset button. You gave us Aleister Black, then you took him off TV, and now you want to give Aleister Black back to the audience. I hope that doesn't backfire on WWE. I hope those people have not turned their back on Aleister Black. God forbid. But the company has a winner in Aleister Black, and I hope that they do right by him. And a feud with Randy Orton, honestly, the way I pitched it, The RKO versus the Black Mass. Which one's going to come out of nowhere first? The RKO is WWE's just bread and butter as far as finishing moves go. The Black Mass is the modern day RKO. It's a great match, a great concept, a great spotlight if they want to do it. And Triple H just lost to Randy Orton. Randy Orton went over Triple H. That'd be a great feather in the cap of Aleister Black. I don't know how much of this is going to be mentioned, but I'm just thinking because I'm not an idiot, I know what happened on their weekly TV. Randy Orton just beat Triple H. How would it look if Aleister Black beats the guy who just beat Triple H in Saudi Arabia? On top of Randy Orton already being a future Hall of Famer. I think that's a nice fucking in if you're the Dutch Destroyer. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they got big plans. There's no reason why they shouldn't, because Aleister Black, in my eyes, is a future WWE champion. Matches of the year up and down that fucking roster on Raw and Smackdown. Give me a break. The guy should be on TV. Moving on here, man. Speaking of Super Showdown, how many fans were really at Super Showdown? Was it as super as WWE really made it out to be? The Jeddah venue, King Abdullah Stadium, holds 62,345 fans, but WWE didn't even come close to selling out this event. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the WWE Super Showdown event only brought in 21,000 fans for the big event. It looked like they had far more people. I know I was convinced that there was more people in that stadium, but it looked like they had far more people when you watch on television. But WWE has become very good at making it look like there are more people at an event than there really are. This is an interesting situation, as WWE previously reported that there was a surge in ticket prices when they went on sale. There was also a lot of hope that Super Showdown would bring in a lot of walk-up tickets. That didn't happen either. Keep in mind that this was a bought show which was paid for by the Saudi Arabian government, so they footed the entire bill. WWE didn't get any money from ticket sales, which were very low anyway. All WWE had to do was bring a show, and that's what they did no matter what, or how many people actually showed up to watch Super Letdown. So, there you go. There you go. WWE wants to run a 62,000-seat venue, and they only want to fill 21,000. They made it look like some big deal. They made it feel like some big deal with the fireworks going off, and the fireworks going off around the building and inside the building and all this other shit. The big LED board like we've seen on WrestleMania. Sure. Whatever happened in the ring is not WrestleMania-like. Whatever it looked like and felt like didn't feel WrestleMania-like. It's just a shell of what WrestleMania really is in the grand scheme of everything WWE. It's nothing but a fucking farce. This is bullshit. And WWE will continue to do these shows over the next 8 years. And like the report said by Meltzer, they didn't have anything to do with the fucking ticket sales. Whatever. They didn't get any money from ticket sales, so they didn't lose out on anything. The Saudi government paid for it all. WWE's got a cool $500 million in the bank from the Saudi government. All they have to do is show up. Simple as that. What a deal. What a deal. There you go. Super Showdown was really a super letdown as far as fan attendance goes. Now, the big story coming out of Super Letdown was Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg and The Undertaker. Everybody was reporting the night of the incident, which will live on forever. There was a backstage argument between Goldberg and The Undertaker. I reported it. And we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if it was credible. All we knew was that there was an argument, a blow-up, and that was it. Goldberg argued with The Undertaker. The Undertaker argued with Bill Goldberg. I made mention of the fact that we don't really know what happened. I would understand completely if The Undertaker was angry. But how could you really blame Bill Goldberg when he knocked himself out accidentally? So even if you are The Undertaker, is it really right to argue and yell at Bill Goldberg when he didn't even know what the fuck was going on and he physically couldn't, bring himself to finish the rest of the match? So, did it really happen? And if it did, how angry could The Undertaker be at Bill Goldberg? And I mentioned in the extra when I talked about it, it was probably one of those things that was in the heat of the moment and it was nothing more. Both of them went on their way and they're looking to redeem themselves in the near future. That's all I said it was. Now, according to reports, Mike Johnson of PW Insider is reporting that no such backstage argument even took place. He says this, and I quote, "I have not heard from one person with any legitimacy of this being true. In fact, when I asked about the rumor, it was quickly shot down by those who were actually in Saudi Arabia, so I tend to think that the story is 100% fiction. Goldberg was not in any position to be fighting with anyone after the match. My belief is that he was checked on by WWE's medical staff, and if there was an interaction after, it was likely The Undertaker checking in on Goldberg's well-being. End quote. There have been several calls for The Undertaker and Goldberg to hang up their trunks once and for all after the match, with The Undertaker even liking a tweet on Instagram suggesting that he should retire from pro wrestling. I hope we can all move on from this. It's exactly what I had a feeling it was going to be. If there was any indication of a backstage argument, it was probably done in the heat of the moment. But with Goldberg being the way that he was after that match, why would anybody argue with him? And did he even have the wherewithal to put up an argument with anybody? Everybody's concern was probably more than likely hoping that Bill Goldberg was okay and of a right mind. He was bleeding like a fucking ketchup bottle. Just spurting out blood. Awful. So why would anybody argue with him knowing that that man is physically fucking hurt in that moment? So Mike Johnson put an end to that. Hopefully we don't have to talk about that anymore. I do know, and I do predict that both The Undertaker and Goldberg, not in the same ring, not a rematch, they will both be back in the ring at some point in the year, within the next 12 months. They will be back in the ring to redeem themselves from this disaster known as Super Letdown. Goldberg will definitely have another match, whether that happens this summer or before he hangs it up completely, he will have another match, because I know for a fact that Goldberg does not want that lingering on his conscience, that being his last match. Same thing with The Undertaker. The Undertaker has had a string of bad matches. The last good match that The Undertaker had was probably in the Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar. That was it. After that, every single time he's been in the ring, it's been not memorable. And the last two matches, the last two showcase matches at these fucking Saudi shows, god awful. God awful. Kane and The Undertaker, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, awful. This, awful. The match with Rusev wasn't that bad, but it wasn't needed. It was more for Rusev than anything. They just brought The Undertaker there because he is a star attraction for the company. But The Undertaker has not had a good match. You know he wants to redeem himself after this debacle known as Super Letdown. Now, there are people in the wrestling community, there are people in the WWE that are defending Bill Goldberg and The Undertaker. One of them is JBL. The other is Ric Flair. JBL took to his official Twitter account where he posted a lengthy statement in defense of the two legendary stars after the negative feedback that they received from wrestlers and fans. This is what he said, and I am not surprised that JBL broke his silence on this. I wouldn't know because I'm not following him on Facebook and I'm blocked on social media. I saw some of the negative feedback on social media over The Undertaker and Goldberg's match. I thought a lot of it was misguided. I wrestled Undertaker as much as anyone in WWE. I was the top heel for a long period of time. Yes, JBL, we know. Stop living in the fucking past. I was the biggest heel in the company from 2003 to 2005. I think those were the years, he says. And The Undertaker was the top babyface. So we wrestled every night, and after every TV taping, one trip in Europe, we had been on a run of some very good matches. And out of the blue, we have one that didn't work, a tag team match. I came back and Taker said, well, that didn't work. And I laughed disappointingly and said, no, it didn't. Next night, we had a very good match. Back at it again, singles. So he's describing that they had an out-of-the-blue tag team match. It didn't work. And then they went right back at it one-on-one, and they had a good match again. So he's saying that sometimes it's something that works, sometimes it's not. My point is, he says, in closing, sometimes matches don't go well. I saw fans blaming age and ego for these guys competing. I know both, not Goldberg as well, but both don't need the money. They do this because they love it. Love being in front of a crowd and love entertaining. Don't we want those we watch to love what they do? End quote. I don't know how much of it is about money, but when you throw The Undertaker $2 million to wrestle one match a year, and you look at anybody else on the roster making $500,000, $550,000 guaranteed contract a year for WWE, and they're on the road 300 days a year. And Undertaker comes in, Goldberg comes in, and they're being paid $2 million flat for 6-7 minutes of work. One night out of the year. You mean to tell me that money doesn't have a driving factor in what these guys are doing? Give me a fucking break. Yeah, they might not need the money, but if they don't need the money, then it goes back to what I originally stated. Why risk your legacy and tarnish your legacy furthermore by taking the money that JBL clearly states they don't need? So why not say no? Goldberg could have said no. The Undertaker keeps coming back. The Undertaker liking tweets about wanting to retire. The only one that's going to retire and not put on the fucking boots is Mark Calloway. So why does he do it? Does he need the money? Probably not. Or is he that stupid to be loyal and continue to be loyal to Vince McMahon, knowing that he cannot be the Undertaker that we all want him to be? There comes a time and an age where you can't do the things that you used to do. Yet money is still the driving force. Bullshit. They might not need the money, but when you throw someone $2 million, or $1 million even, it doesn't even have to be $2 million, $1 million for 7 minutes of work, are they going to say no? You're making more than 100% of the roster in one fucking match. But it's not a driving force. See, I look differently. I look at it differently. I take legacy to be the most important thing, the most valuable thing to these guys. The Undertaker's tarnishing his legacy with each and every outing. If he would have walked away after WrestleMania 28, the man's career would have been probably the greatest of all time. Now, coming from WrestleMania 28, going on into 30, and then going on into what we see now at Super Showdown, he's not going to be remembered for he's going to be remembered for the legacy that he has, but more people, more so, are going to pinpoint the bad than they did the good. He continues on down this road, he's going to be that aging veteran who just doesn't know when to hang it up. You don't want to be remembered for that. You want to be remembered for all the great things you did. I don't want The Undertaker to fucking suffer. He's my favorite performer of all time. I don't want to see The Undertaker go in there and embarrass himself. I don't want to see that from a childhood hero and someone who I respect immensely for the 30 years of service that he's given us. He's a part of my fucking family. He's a part of our families unofficially. I don't want to see that. So money definitely is a driving force. He might not need it, but when WWE offers JBL to come out of retirement for a cool $2 million to fight John Cena in a fucking rematch from WrestleMania, is he going to say no? He might not need it, but if he's loyal to Vince McMahon and Vince McMahon's waving around the fucking almighty dollar, let me see JBL say no. Give me a break. Ric Flair. Ric Flair also commented on this situation. And Ric Flair defends both Goldberg and The Undertaker after Super Showdown. He says this, and I quote, "Well, the overall feeling is this. They opened up hot. I loved it. I loved the match up until the last minute and a half. And here's the deal. Whatever you want to say about anybody in this business, he's going to be on Mount Rushmore if there is one. You keep saying this. You can say no, wrong about The Undertaker. He's a talent of a lifetime. Bill Goldberg had arguably the greatest run of anyone for years and still never had anyone spend more than a half an hour with him learning the fundamentals of the business, and he pulled it off. And I'm sure that he's brokenhearted, but it's tough, and it's not factored around age. When I was doing this stuff, I was still. They had me in the back. They had me in the ring on a regular basis. It is so hard to come in and work 2 or 3 times a year. It's hard. They're making a big deal about Kevin Durant coming in. Try taking 6 months off from wrestling and getting in the ring. And climbing on a Stairmaster or an elliptical is not going to answer any of these questions on getting in the ring and going full speed ahead. So that is his stance on that. He went on to praise Randy Orton and Triple H for a match they had earlier in the evening. He says this, and I quote, "My hat's off to Hunter. I don't know how he does it. I thought he and Randy Orton had a hell of a match. Old school? Yes, but the old school is new school, and it was a heavyweight match. 2 contenders going at it, and they didn't miss a beat. And Randy is working a full-time schedule. Hunter works twice a year. That is hard to pull off. I respect Ric Flair's opinion on this much more than JBL. JBL is nothing more than a fucking WWE apologist. So you knew he was going to come in defense and just give you the most fucking shittiest of reasons. Ric Flair actually has a reason that is going to make you take a step back and say, you know what? The man's got a fucking point. The man makes a very good case for both of them. Ric Flair's defense is probably the best defense I've seen out of everybody so far. I still stick with mine about legacy. This is all WWE's fault. This is WWE's fault. They don't know any better. They don't have any better. They're going to the well once too often. They got to produce these matches for the Saudi government, and they put themselves in this position. They are to blame more than anybody. They are to blame more than anybody. They don't really factor in or give a shit about legacy. And The Undertaker and Bill Goldberg, yes, they are to blame for taking the money and taking the spot. Maybe their legacies don't really matter to them either. But WWE is the mastermind behind all this, and they are to blame just as much as anybody else. I love Ric Flair's reasoning. I think that's great, and it is really like riding a bike. Bill Goldberg hasn't been in the ring since Brock Lesnar and the Universal Championship. When was that? WrestleMania 33? That's 2 years. And him getting back in the ring after all that time, at his age, when he didn't do it well to begin with, must have been a fucking shock to him. The Undertaker wrestling once a year, no matter how many times you're training and how many years of service he's given, having all that time off, not being in the ring, not taking a bump, not going through the motions and, just working off that ring rust that you've developed sitting at home. It could be tough. This is why I stand behind Ric Flair's reasoning. He has the most logical, down-to-earth just take on it all. I love that, and good on Ric Flair for picking up the slack where JBL clearly showed he's a fucking idiot. WWE's actually blaming Goldberg for the match at Super Showdown, which is fucking ridiculous. Brad Shepard noted on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that things were not viewed too well backstage when it comes to WWE Super Showdown and the main event. In the end, much of the blame was placed on Goldberg. A source in WWE on the Goldberg vs. Undertaker match at Super Showdown. I don't know why they made that match so complicated. It should have been 3 to 5 hot minutes with a couple of simple big moves like Goldberg vs. Lesnar at WrestleMania 33. Both guys were burnt out and done that night, although most in the company are blaming Bill for what happened. Yes, because you can predict a spot that's going to bust open somebody and give someone a fucking concussion in the ring. Give me a break. WWE, of course they blame Bill Goldberg. They're not going to blame The Undertaker. They're not going to blame themselves. So let's blame the guy who isn't the WWE guy. Fucking bullshit. WWE is to fucking blame here. The spot where Goldberg concussed himself should have never even been a spot in the match. Those fans didn't want to see a fucking 8 to 10 minute match between these guys. Spear, jackhammer, chokeslam, last ride, tombstone. That is it. And you play up the fact by using The Undertaker using his signature setup and Goldberg being as intense as he is. That's all you needed. They wanted to go above and beyond. For who? WWE is to blame. The people who put this match together are to blame. Goldberg is not to blame. Fucking ridiculous. I don't blame Bill Goldberg. If you're going to blame Bill Goldberg, you got to blame The Undertaker. If you're going to blame both of them, you got to blame WWE. Everybody's guilty. Can't just place the blame on one. Company is so fucking sickening, man. Ridiculous. 2 more stories before we get out of here, man. Chad Gable. Habib, the new gas station attendant. Chad Gable showed up on Monday Night Raw. I don't know whether he was a fucking pro wrestler or a Stop and Shop supervisor. Ridiculous. Came in wearing some fucking vest, some sports jacket. Looked like he was working down aisle 8. Hey, there's a fucking mess here. Clean it up. Gable made his debut on 205 Live this week. He faced Jack Gallagher in the opening match, won via countout, which was actually not the planned ending for the match. It was a botch. If you guys didn't know, Gallagher was supposed to make the 10 count, but he tripped and slipped and did not make the 10 count. And referee, they got to call everything as a shoot. Call it. Goodbye. Or they gotta call everything as real. So that's exactly what they did. They called the match, and Gable won his debut on 205 Live by countout. Now, Drake Maverick was hyping a special surprise for the night on 205 Live, and Chad Gable was it, because Chad Gable now is a part of 205 Live in the Cruiserweight division. It gives him a new lease on life. I think this is a great move. I think the matches that we will see out of Chad Gable and everybody on that brand is going to be great, and I hope he finds success. Maybe this could be a new way for him to move up back to the main roster and then again be right back to where he was before 205 Live. Just look at Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. Mustafa Ali should be considered lucky. He should find himself to be lucky that they haven't even used him in recent weeks, but he's been in major programs. He's got a shot at the WWE Championship. So maybe Chad Gable could work his way back up to the main roster if he still is interested in being with the company after 205 Live, which, in my honest opinion, not worth it. They didn't find any value with him then. They're not going to find any value with him in the future. Finally, guys, finding value. WWE finds no value in the IC title. That is clear because Finn Balor has also not been on TV. But they might have a huge feud planned for Balor and SummerSlam. The IC title is certainly ready to be featured again in something new, in something fresh. Shinsuke Nakamura could fit that bill. Balor versus Nakamura was actually featured as a dark match after Smackdown Live last week. Balor and Nakamura didn't main event the television show, which could on any night if they wanted to, but if they were hiding that match, then they could be saving it for a bigger stage. With SummerSlam coming up, Nakamura could certainly use a big match. Balor could use a big match. The IC title could certainly use a big match. You never know what WWE could be planning, but perhaps facing Balor, Nakamura could find himself back into the swing of things on Smackdown Live, and they are both New Japan Pro Wrestling guys from their early years. I don't know what they got planned, but if this means Shinsuke Nakamura has got a renewed push on TV, I'm all for it. Man, what a fucking waste Shinsuke Nakamura has become. Guy came out of NXT. He got one of the greatest debuts I ever seen in that company, and he made his debut on the main roster, started off like a house on fire, and WWE decided we'll feed him to Jinder Mahal, and he was never the same after that. Mahal beat him not once, but twice. SummerSlam and at Hell in a Cell, and WWE ruined Shinsuke Nakamura. Even though he won the Royal Rumble, even though he went to WrestleMania, they turned him heel, they put a focus on him being a heel. Nothing was ever the same, and after that AJ Styles feud, goodbye. They didn't know what else to do with Nakamura, which is a damn fucking shame. What is a bigger shame is that WWE doesn't have any plans for the Intercontinental Championship. Balor showed up at Super Showdown in defense of that title against Andrade, and before that, and now after that, he has not been seen or heard of on SmackDown Live with the Intercontinental Championship. That should be a staple on your shows, and WWE has willingly kept it off TV. Yet Shane McMahon gets fucking 3 to 4 segments on a 2-hour SmackDown Live. Give me a fucking break. I'm all for a Balor-Nakamura feud. I'm all for Balor being on TV more. I'm all for the Intercontinental Championship being featured more, which it should. And I'm all for Nakamura being on TV in a renewed push. I doubt that's going to happen, but one could dream, one could hope. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much for all your supports. I do not have anything planned for Sunday as of right now because I literally ran through everything here on part 2. So if I don't see you on Sunday, I'll see you on Monday. And if you see me tomorrow, I'll let you know. Follow me on Twitter, JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram, JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Harrys.com/script via free trial shave set. Make sure you guys go and check out The Ridge. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. The Ridge, ridge.com/script. Use code script at checkout for 10% off. Make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Raw, SmackDown, NXT. You guys know the deal. Plus an off-the-script extra talking about the Firefly Funhouse and possibly some indirect shots at Jon Moxley, New Japan, and AEW. All those videos will be live on the channel. Link are in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of the screen. And I'm getting out of here, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Enjoy your Saturdays. If I don't see you on Sunday, I'll see you right back here on Monday Night Raw for the go-home show of WWE Stomping Grounds. Until then, again, hit that thumbs up. Have a great Saturday. And if I don't see you on Sunday, I'll see you right back here for a brand new week of content on the channel. I'll talk to you guys later.